To get back to the recruiting, I think it's interesting because the thing that I look at, and maybe it's different because of the season that Michigan's had, but even before the season started, I did a quick video where I was walking and talking, but I talked about perception is reality. Because at that time Michigan was coming off a 2-4 season, and as fans, sometimes we think that our perception and our thoughts of our program is what is the most important, and it's really not. It's the 17 and 18-year-old kids who are graduating high school, getting ready to come into college. It's what they think about it. And I think, having a number 9 class as of right now shows that the perception of Michigan is incredible. And I think this season has only added to what that perception was. Like it's even better now. You look at Big Ten champs, beat Ohio State, headed to the college football playoff. I think it just adds to it, and it's going to be one of those things that benefits you 2-3 years down the road when all of these guys who are getting ready to enroll and sign their letters of intent are sophomores and juniors, down the road, and
That's
really
great.
getting into that man body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that was a great point. I was just going to say that because I thought you were leaning towards you can already see the impact in this year. I'm like, no, you probably won't see the true impact till the next few classes, right? Because with this class, it's rare where you see that a kid, uh, unless Michigan was in their top 5 throughout the year, come out of nowhere and say, yeah, I'm going to Michigan in the midst of the quote unquote turnaround season, right? This is the quote unquote turnaround season, the plant the flag type season for Michigan. You're going to probably see that pay dividends, I think, in the next couple of years. So no, I agree with you, Des. Now look, Des, Mark doesn't know this, but you know my view on recruiting. Okay, I would be lying if I said I get up in arms and I throw celebration parties over recruiting rankings. Okay, because one, Michigan in the past uh, has recruited well, guiding big time recruits to Michigan, and they have not panned out as they should. Huge burnouts. Now I know that happens not just at Michigan, but you know, Q Derek the Derek Greens of the world, right? Right? Q the Rashawn Garrett's of the world. Sorry guys, Rashawn Garrett was a bust compared to what he was touted to be. So those type of recent, in the last 10 years, um, but bust really kind of tampered my view. Like, okay, he got a 3-star kid here, 4-star kid here. You definitely need the talent. So I'm not just missing the importance of it, but I really get excited when I see the player development, right? What happens after this, and I think what's been really encouraging about this staff is seeing guys come out of nowhere this year, right, and really take steps forward because that speaks to player development, doesn't it? When you agree, seeing a kid like I'll be interested. I had to go back and check and see where was David Ajabo's recruiting ranking out of high school. I had to guess maybe what 3 or 4-star. Maybe he could have been a 5-star. I can't remember. But I'll be interested to see what David Ajabo was coming out of high school. What was Eric All coming out of high school? I know Hassan Haskins for sure was a 3-star kid. Um, in DJ Turner at corner and all these guys who kind of came out of nowhere this year, and really, well, not Hassan Haskins, but really started to make an impact for this team. That's that speaks good to player development. So on days like today, where Michigan is ranked 9th in the country in recruiting thus far and 3rd in the Big Ten, um, there's reasons to feel pretty confident about the future for sure.
David Ajabo was the 19th rated strong side defensive end in his class, 7th rated player in the state of New Jersey, number 314 overall is a 4-star. So he was pretty much a mid to low 4-star because there's usually about 35 to 45 stars. You can almost put that number down for sure. There's almost always right around 35 5 stars. That's all there is. And then there's The number of 4-stars goes into the 400 range, something there. So he was near the lower end of the 4-star range, coming out of New Jersey. Now I got a stat for you, Dre, and certainly I think that this means a whole lot, and you agree that you got to have talent. So on opposite ends of the spectrum, we've got Texas. They recruit great athletes. They lose all the games. Like, what's going on there? What are you doing?
Yes.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, you got Wisconsin. They can bring in the 50th ranked class in the country, and they're still going to finish in the top 15 in the country. They just develop talent, and don't worry about what the ranking is. It's going to be 36 one year. It's going to be 28. It's going to be 41 wherever. Michigan State was the same when they were prospering under Mark D'Antonio. Didn't matter what the recruiting ranking was. Stanford, Kansas State. There's been a few other ones like that. The top 6 in recruiting rankings, meaning they've got a list on 247 Sports where they take the entire roster for everybody. So not one particular class, but the entire what comprises everybody's roster currently for this 2021 season. This says it all right here. Alabama's 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson 4, LSU 5, Oklahoma 6. There's your college football playoff and national champions pretty much across the board.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I'm actually a little surprised that LSU is there now, and I think they had some injuries and things like that come into play, but obviously, just a couple years ago they were blowing out everybody and winning a national championship. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. I wonder where Michigan would be on that list.
They
If
are
they would be
15.
okay. My guess was going to be top 10, but yeah, 15. That probably.
I thought they were going to be higher than that too.
Yeah, that's not bad. But as far as to kind of piggyback on your point, Dre, I do understand what you mean on the kind of pumping the brakes a bit on the high classes. But what I will say is, I don't know specifically the stat, but you basically need a top 5, top 10 recruiting class for basically about 2 to 3 years if you want to get to national championship.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
you got to get the talent in the building first, and then you work on the development. But if you're developing 2 stars, it's not really going to matter that much because you just have to have a 6'3", 205-pound receiver that runs a 4.3. Like you need
Well, we're
those.
going to find out when you'll see that, like when Cincy plays Bama, right? Just like you saw when Michigan State played Bama, right? And I know Cincy has some talented kids. And they also got some kids who transferred in to their program who didn't go there originally, but were highly recruited coming out of high school, right? So, and I think that counts still. You're still getting the talent in-house, but you will see one school that majority of their kids are probably more of the 3-star range compared to another school, majority is 4 to 5-star. And it's just like when State played against Bama in 15, and that's a state program that at the time Mark D'Antonio was squeezing all the juice he could out of the players he was getting there, and they were very, very competitive the first half against Bama, but you just saw the cream rise to the top. So to your point, Desmond, you need the talent in-house to be a staple for a great program. But to Mark's point, you don't necessarily need the great talent in-house to be a good program, as long as, case in point in Wisconsin, the players that you're recruiting fit your culture and fit the schematics that you're trying to do year after year. And I think Michigan's sweet spot will probably be somewhere in the middle, in which they are recruiting in the top 10, right? And they're able to get a fair amount of 4 or 5-star kids, like today when they got Will Johnson, and they gave it a flip Amani Walker from Notre Dame to Michigan, right? So you get your few 4 or 5-star kids, but then the 3-star kids that you get in there, make sure you're squeezing all the juice you can out of them, right? And to make sure they fit the schemes and the culture, they're a really good culture fit. And more important than anything, it's the quarterback position. How are you recruiting the quarterback position? How are you cultivating and developing that? Because that's been an area where Michigan has recruited really well under Jim Harbaugh. But up to recently, that has, not with Cade and JJ, of course, but up to recently has struggled to get that to, play out the way it needed to, right? So that's what I'm really interested in as this new era. If we get to consider this new era, Jim Harbaugh, how's the quarterback position continue to develop once past the days of JJ and Cade, whatever kid we bring in here?